Hi everyone, I'm Natalia for the Stories from Canada, and today I came to Kanasatake. This is a small town near Montreal, and I came here to talk to one of the 60 Scoop survivors. Scooping up Indigenous children from their families to place them to the foster families was a common practice across Canada that began in the late 50s and persisted into the 80s. The main idea of the government was to assimilate Indigenous people to the white culture. It is estimated that approximately 20,000 Indigenous children were adopted by white middle-class families. Those children lost their families, their names, their languages and culture. Some of them had a chance to come back to the communities and to reconnect with their culture. Some of them no. Experts say that it was a part of genocide in Canada. So here is my story about the 60 Scoop survivors. Alan Harrington is a Ojibwe. His biological name Piness, from his language meaning eagle. However, he has never used that name. Approximately at the age of 2, he was taken with his twin sister from his community on the northwest of Shoal Lake in Ontario. They were adopted by Harrington family and raised in Muskoka district in Ontario. Alan's biological grandparents cared about the kids before the government stepped in. And although the relationship was strong between Harringtons and his grandparents, he almost lost communication with the family.
I do vaguely remember throughout, growing up, being a young boy, maybe between 7 to 13, I would talk to my grandmother. I remember having conversations with my grandparents on the phone from back home, And then, I don't know what happened, but we lost communication.
Harrington's family, however, fought a lot for Alan and his sister as they tried to do everything for their adopted kids.
My sister and I were very lucky. We were one of the lucky ones to be brought up by a good family as best as they could, Yeah, we did see some bad shit, but, that's life, every family's different. And, when we grow up, we need to learn to find that love again, forget, but to forgive, and move on, as I know other 60, 70 scoopers out there, and some of their stories are horrible. They were placed in homes where they would be sexually assaulted by the families. They would be beaten by some of the family. It was very important for me to find out who I was as an Indigenous man, where I was from, who my family was, my original family.
In his 20s, Alan ended up going back on the reserve to learn more about his community. He said he was shy, but at least he could proceed. And although his relatives and elders were happy to have him back, he had to move from there to get away from the negative. Unemployment, alcohol and drug abuse, family violence are believed to be systemic issues in his Aboriginal community. He left. However, Alan started to learn more about traditional ceremonies and even became a traditional dancer. Once he met his future wife, who is Mohawk, he moved to Kanasatake with her. And since 2009, Alan has been organizing Powwow, Festival of Dances in Montreal. In his opinion, these events make people happy because it is all about friendships, togetherness, reconnection, and sense of belonging. He said he dances to get positive energy, to help people healing and praying about others, nature, and the crisis that is in the world.
I do have a twin sister. but she's the opposite. She didn't have the interest as I did of trying to find out who we were, as Indigenous people, our culture. She didn't really have the same likings as I did, which is fine. That's totally her choice.
Alan said going back home has been the best thing ever happened in his life.
I still have a long ways to go, but I'm happy that I'm in that direction. And with all the support from friends and family, reporters like yourself, to be able to get our stories out, to talk about it is so needed. Right now, it's healing. We're talking, you and I. This is healing. That's the way I see it. That's the way I feel.
Alan thinks that there is no reconciliation yet in Canada. Instead of moving forward, the country is stepping back.
Acknowledging, really acknowledging. If Canada was really serious about reconciliation, they would really acknowledge, come forward and step, make agreements with the First Nations, our people, and it's always, always when a new government gets in, that's where it all goes to shit, or all goes to crap, because a new government gets in, they don't like it, let's scrap it, let's start over again.
Alan explained the medicine wheel on his t-shirt is one of the oldest teaching tools. It represents the interconnection of all aspects of human beings, including the connection with the natural world. The circle provides the power we have over our own lives. Starting from 2015, the governments of Manitoba, Alberta, and Saskatchewan issued a formal apology to 60 Scoop victims. In 2017, an Ontario judge ruled that the federal government failed in its duty of care for Indigenous Ontarians who were separated from their families. And the Canadian government announced that it was ready to negotiate a settlement to more than $1 billion class action lawsuit. Although Canadians are beginning to acknowledge the harm caused by the government's policy, the long-lasting effects are considerable, ranging from a loss of cultural identity to low self-esteem and the feeling of shame and loneliness.